John, what kind of GIA car do you drive?
A Porsche Cayman.
Very nice.
I love it. I don't know. I love my car. I'm into cars a little bit.
I know. We've heard you joke around with Alfred about
Yeah.
things that accelerate, things that combust.
Well, I thought, Kedzi, that we would, and I want to work with you on this as we go through this because you're an expert on the comp plan for sure. And what we're going to do is we're going to review a PowerPoint presentation that I put together not too long ago, and it goes through pretty much in detail about the ranks in GIA and how they work, and it will give you some insights on how to build. And you won't remember everything, and that's not expected because we are going to record this so that you can go back to it and then use it again for people. And along the way, if you have any questions along the way that come up, this would be a great time to just say, out there, ask it. And there's no bad questions because this is going to be new to a lot of us, and I think talking about it will help. Kedzi, any starting ideas before we get going?
Well, I just wanted to mention, in case anybody has background noise, they should mute unless you have muted everybody. Not sure you did.
No, I didn't. No.
I would say lovingly mute. So that's number one. Number two, I think that maybe if you could just say a little bit about, let's say the uniqueness of the GIA comp plan, before we get into the nuts and bolts, kind of, because a lot of people are coming in from other networking, they've already been doing networking companies, and they know this and that, and I just would like to sort of explain the uniqueness of GIA.
Well, as you see as we go through it, I think what I like about it is that you have the ability, I'm going to say, to go wide. And I think that's a key idea for me, is to be able to go as wide as I want to and build a team that way and go deep at the same time. So I'm sponsoring people this way and helping them to sponsor people so that you have that well, I'm going to say that pyramid look to it, and it gets deeper, and as you get deeper and deeper, it gets wider and wider. And I just feel that gives me a lot of options. And I think the other unique thing about it as we go through it, you'll find that they make it pretty easy on the requalification. So it really doesn't depend on who you sponsor, for sure. You have the ability to have people sponsored in your first 4 levels that will enable you to qualify at the ranks that we're going to talk about. And so it comes down to building a team, helping them go out and find people, and then people will pop up in your organization in different levels who will be your leaders, who will be the ones who will help you to maintain and move up in the ranks. And I think that's very unique in that they give us that opportunity. Many times in these types of comp plans, you have to sponsor the person who makes it happen. In this case, it could be someone 3 levels down from you who sponsors that person who's excited and starts to build. I think that's probably the most unique part about it. Another part I really like, I also feel from a unique point of view, is reaching the car program is really easy with GIA compared to some of the other programs out there. And what I mean is that the volume requirement is pretty low to reach the car program. And I like the car program not only because I get to get a really nice car, but it's a great advertisement for your business to be driving around in a GIA car and having other people see that and watch you experience it. And that's really part of the lifestyle. How's that, Kedzi? Does that cover a lot of the things?
Yeah, that's a good overview. I just, a lot of people come in and say, is this a binary? Is this a this or that? And, they're thinking in terms of going very long and very deep.
Right.
That's exactly the opposite, at least initially, right? That's exactly the opposite of what GIA is all about in terms of the comp plan.
Yeah, I think when you look at a comp plan, they're all designed to pay out a certain amount of the volume that comes in. And it's anywhere between probably 25 and 50% usually companies will pay out. And so the structure of it in the binaries, it's sponsored to have 2 legs, but you still have to sponsor people. That's the key idea. And it's the same with going wide. To really make this happen, you want to sponsor people so that you have the opportunity to have them go out and do the same thing so that you can find those people who really become the ones that you're most interested. And so bottom line is this in GIA, probably, I'm going to say, guessing 70+% of the people who join us join because of the products. And we have product users who use our product every single month. And then a certain percentage, I don't know what the number is, maybe 15 or 20% are what we call social enrollers. And they love the products, and they love sharing the products, and that's their passion, and they sponsor a few people in their career. And then we have what you might call the business builder, and that's a smaller number, and they're the ones who kind of rise to the leadership and help organizations build. And that's where the most benefits come from, is building a team. And so it's just a great program, I think.
That's great. Thank you. That's a good overview, I think. A great overview.
So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the PowerPoint and get that set up here real quickly.
And we have one more person, a couple more people I see on there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So.
And you've pressed record.
This is the first time I pressed recording at the right time, Kedzi, in all the ones that I've done, believe me. We did it. So I'm really happy about that. It's pretty funny if you knew how that feels. But okay, so we're going to go through this, and I'm just going to start at the very beginning and talk about, I'm hoping you guys want to put this down here maybe. So this is the estimated rank incomes for each rank. And the way we figured out is that what the volume needs to be to reach these ranks and what the income would be. And so we start here at the manager level. And manager, we started here, there's two levels underneath manager, which I'm going to go over, but pretty much manager is where the majority of people start at manager. And if they start below that, they get to manager pretty quickly. And so you can see the income, $50 to $200, then it goes to junior, and you can see what the incomes are. I highlighted the director level because that's where the CAR program kicks in. And so the income for a director could be as low as $600, or could be as high as $2,000, and the CAR program would be in addition to that. And at director, the CAR program is, I think it's $300 payment for you in the CAR program. Now you might be wondering, why is the range so big between 600 and 2,000? And it just depends on how mature the organization is. So if you just reach director, your income might be at the lower range. But if you've been a director for a while and you're creating volume through your team, then you would be at the $2,000 range, and that's how that works. And Kedzi, if you have any questions or thoughts, just jump in along the way.
And just one thing I was going to say, when you're really going for, let's say, director, you may be way past 600 because of all the bonuses from all the activity that you're doing above and beyond the basic commissions.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And what we're seeing here are what the incomes would be just based on the volume. And that doesn't really count all the bonuses and all the things that are available as you're moving in the direction of getting there. And that's what's great about GIA, is that not only do they pay us well from the volume point of view, but they have so many different ways that you can create income. And the checks, as you're really going for it, the checks just keep coming in on a weekly basis. And I'll be honest with you, Kedzi, I don't know if you remember, but there were times, what is this? Why did I get this check? I mean, still today I get a check and I have no idea why it came. And it's kind of fun when that happens. But, and so here's the way I look at the compensation plan for those people who are serious. Now this is just John Williams' approach to it. I just looked at it this way. I wanted to get to presidential director as fast as I could get there. That's just the way my mind worked. I knew that if I did that, I would go through all these other levels, and that's what happened for me. I didn't put a time frame on it. I just wanted to get there as fast as I could, and that's what I did. But I went through senior director, executive, and presidential, and I was really happy to be at those places. But really, presidential director, that income, $5,000 to $15,000, was really what I was looking for. So what I tell people as they look at this compensation plan is to pick out an income that's interesting to you. What would really help you and change your situation, I guess. And many times it could be $600 to $1,000, or it could be $1,500 at the senior level that would really make a difference. And set that goal. Set that goal and then work to get there as fast as you can. Does that make sense, the way I'm saying that, Kedzi?
Absolutely. And then what happens is then you start getting curious. Well, how do I do that? What do I have to do?
Exactly.
All the downstream questions begin. You don't have to know before you set your goal. You'll find that out once you set your goal.
Exactly. And exactly where I was going to go. So once you set the goal, let's say it's for senior director, now we're going to figure out what it looks like. So what do we have to do, and what kind of activities, and what does the organization look like? And we're going to go over that today as we go through. Let me just open it up. Anybody have a question at all yet? Just jump in, unmute. Okay. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do, let's see, I want to do this. No. Okay, so we're going to start with consultant and senior consultant, and so these are the two levels that are below manager. And you're going to see a pattern as we go through this, as we look at this, because I put this in the same kind of structure as we look at each level. And so for consultant, the volume requirement is $250, so someone can actually start at $250. Then we have an ARO requirement or a purchase requirement for requalification. So someone joins at $250 and they get on an ARO for $35. The next month, they do the same thing. They qualify at $250, and if they're on the ARO, then they're going to get paid as a consultant. And the income range for a consultant is $20 to $40, and the commissions that are paid on one level. So if you sponsor someone as a consultant, you'll be paid on one level only as that consultant. Now, the ARO, this is an interesting thing about the way we've set up our ARO, and ARO stands for automatic reorder, and it's a really important part of creating residual income with GIA, and really with any network marketing company. And so what the company says is you can have an ARO of, in this case, $35, or if you don't want to have ARO, automatic reorder, all you need to do is have a purchase of at least $50 on your ID number, and that will qualify you to be paid by the company.
Can you address how it breaks up if somebody doesn't have an ARO and they didn't know that they were going to enroll someone, and then the breakup between the two halves of the month in terms of qualification?
You go ahead and explain it. I'm not sure what you mean.
There's a first half of the month and a second half of the month, and for qualification, and that purchase, when that person enrolls, there has to be a purchase made within that time frame of the enrollment.
Yeah, and I think what she's saying is it gets confusing, and so ARO really is the way to go. And there's so many reasons to be on ARO. So if I'm working with someone who wants to do this from an income point of view, ARO is just going to happen, and we're going to figure out how to make that happen for the person. It's a great program, and I'm sure Kedzi will talk about some of the benefits that go along with it. But from a business point of view, ARO is really critical for our success and just the way the comp plan works. Okay? So the next thing is senior consultant, and now the volume bumps up to $500 to reach senior consultant. Again, the ARO is still $35 or the $50 purchase. Income now goes from $40 to $100, and now commissions are paid on two levels. So now they're allowing you to sponsor two levels down where you start to make an income from the group that you're creating. And the requalification is the same for the next month. It's $500 in volume, ARO, or a $50 purchase. And that will be the same. The requalification for each level is the same in this case as we move through the months. And when you in the product purchase down here, notice I said product purchases discounted is 20%, and retail commissions are at 20%. And this will now increase as we move into the manager level. Any questions out there about these two starting? Yes, Karen, unmute.
Okay, so my husband has a question.
Sure.
Is the $35 amount,
ARO.
that is the $35 ARO, is a purchase that you make that's at least $35, right?
Yeah, it's automatically 35. Yeah, it's a purchase you make, so it's a product purchase.
It's a product purchase, or the $50 is if somebody wanted to order a cell phone case, and that would qualify as long as it was on your account.
Yes. So
Okay.
you actually sell a product, and that will count for that requirement also.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
Good point. Okay, so let's move to manager. Okay, so here's the manager, and I said a lot of people start at manager or they get to this location really quickly because there's some pretty good benefits to it. So the requirement for manager is $1,000. The ARO requirement now goes from $35, now it's $100 a month to qualify at this level. And for those who don't want to do automatic reorder, it's a $150 purchase. And just like you said, Karen, that purchase can be a sale on your number. So that can work for that. Let me get this out of the way. Do you guys see the picture down below? Oh, there we go. The requalification, again, for this level is $1,000 in volume, and that could be volume that you've created or created by your team. Your purchase discount now has raised to 30%. So you're purchasing products at 30% below retail, and then when someone buys a product, let's say they go to your site and purchase, your profit is 30%. And now commissions are paid on 3 levels. So you can see by moving up, you're starting to increase your income, and you're starting to benefit from the group that's growing. Kedzi, anything?
Yes, so I want to use Brandon as an example. Brandon came in at the consultant level with a purchase under 500, and then he enrolled Rodney, who's somewhere here. I see his name, but I can't see him. And Rodney came in as a manager. And this is in the first 30 days.
Right.
So perhaps you could, describe how that worked to bump up Brandon as a manager.
Well, because Brandon sponsored someone, and you add all the volume together, which was over $1,000, which now bumps Brandon into a manager's position. And that we call that a work-up manager. And that happens all the time. It happens all the time. And so, Kedzi, I'm not sure about your philosophy, but my philosophy is helping people to join at whatever level is comfortable for them. Not forcing anybody to be a manager or a business builder, but just really being that consultant and working with them, knowing that no matter where they start, we can work them into the most beneficial place. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we can, I think it's a great training too, for people to be able to see what we see on paper and actually living it.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I just thought, at whatever level people come in that's comfortable for them, and we've had people join at $49.95 and actually do something with it, but I always like people to at least get some products to use. And so if someone has minimum resources, I'm really going to encourage them to at least get the wireless wellness pack so that they have products to show instead of just the $49.95. Does that make sense, Kedzi? I just wanted to throw it out.
Yes, and if they can do that, having a product experience is worth, you can't put a number on that.
Yeah, it's really important. Any questions before we move forward?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Once you achieve a level, do you ever lose that level?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that. Once you achieve a level, you will always, if you become a manager and you don't progress past that, you never lose it. You'll always be a manager. However, this is important. You'll notice that it says the requalification for a manager is $1,000 in volume. So if you don't reach the $1,000 threshold, then you'll be paid at whatever level your volume comes in at. So if you have $500 or let's say $550 in volume and you're on ARO or you've made the other requirement, you'll be paid as a senior consultant, but you'll still be a manager. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the discount doesn't go away.
No.
And the let's say title or rank doesn't go away. It just hasn't been fulfilled in that 30-day cycle.
Right. And so the next month you start out as a manager and it's like starting all over again. And it's the same way even for a presidential director and 1-star. You never lose it, but you're going to be paid based on the volume you create. And that's how that goes. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to move now to junior director. And junior director is how you're sponsoring people. You have 3 legs that are at least senior consultant. And so that means that these 3 legs are at least $500 in volume. And it could be them by themselves, or it could be them and some people under them that create that. And so when you have 5,000 in volume and 3 senior consultants, you are now a junior director. The volume requirement is 5,000. Within your first 4 levels, the income is $300 to $1,000 a month, and requalification is the same. It's 3 senior consultant legs and $5,000 in volume. And this is a pretty fun level. This is really where people start to, now they're getting into sponsoring people. Their team is growing, and they're probably finding some other people now who are interested in building, and it's just a stepping stone to getting to director. Kedzi?
And later on, we'll go back over starting at manager with the bonuses that begin at manager when they requalify.
Okay.
So I don't want to muddy the water now, but yes, this is where you're really helping your people. You're really, you're starting to grow in a way that your life is expanding in the GIA universe, and junior director is really quite an achievement, actually.
I think so too. And you might be wondering, how fast, can we get to some of these levels? And there really is no time frame. We've had people reach high levels in the first month. It just depends on going out and introducing GIA to people out there. So there really isn't like it takes a month to get to one, or it takes 2 months. It just really depends on how much we go out and introduce this to people. Any questions?
John, you're fading a little bit. I don't know what you can do. It's,
all right.
It's swooshing a little bit. Also, we wanted to mention that this is the lowest rank, let's say, that the requalification requirement, the volume, stays the same each time you requalify. After this, it changes.
Yep. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, this is oh, go ahead.
Okay, little question. On the previous slide, senior consultants, you said 500 each, senior consultant at least.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that they're either ordering it themselves, or they are doing enough in sales within their own, like just retail sales or something?
Yeah.
Enrolling.
Yeah, it's all of that. So it's ordering themselves. It's people they might be sponsoring also, or product sales that accumulates and becomes at least $500. And it's also, that's 3 legs at 500, but it's going to take more than that because the volume is going to be 5,000. So there's probably one that's doing more than the other, but it's having those 3 qualified legs. And
I'll just say, for example, the sales. One person could purchase 10 cell phone cases, and that's a $500, more than $500 purchase, and then sell them. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying, as an example, that could be one of the senior consultant legs, or they could find 10 people, and each one of them buys a cell phone case.
Yeah.
And they enroll 10 people.
Right. So you're right, Karen. It's like all those things that create volume: sales, purchases, and then team growth. All those things count in that volume. Good question. Okay, so now this is our director level, and now we're starting. This is kind of like what I would call the first real leadership level, and you want to get to director as fast as you can. That's how I look at this. Just let's get to director as fast as we can go. So for director, you can see that the group volume requirement is $10,000. Now that we're getting significant volume now. So you have a team that's growing. It's not just 3 people as it's indicated here. It's a group of people who are seriously out there sharing this. And I have a feeling, Kedzi, this is going to be happening in your group pretty quickly with all the excitement and energy that's going on. But the requirement is to have 3 manager legs within your first 4 levels. And I don't show all the circles here, but this manager leg idea, so in here we see 3 managers, so this certainly would count as the qualification, but these managers might show up 3 levels deep, and it would count. So let's say the first person you sponsored, they're not doing anything. They're really, they're just using the product. The one after that may not be doing much or might not even qualifying. And then someone that they sponsored now becomes a manager that qualifies the leg. And I think that's the uniqueness of what we have with GIA, is that you don't have to sponsor the person. It takes 3 legs, $10,000 in volume. The income range is $600 to $2,000. But here's the cool thing, is that the requalification for this level is now reduced to $7,500 from then on. So they make a stretch to get there, and then they make it easy to requalify for this level. Anything else, Kedzi? And this is where the CAR program begins. And we can talk a little bit about how those qualifications work if you want to.
Yeah, why don't we stay on it and let people really drink in the director level and what starts to happen there.
Sure. Any questions?
I mean, if you're going to talk about the CAR bonus, that would be fantastic right now.
Well, the CAR program is, well, like I said earlier, it's an important part of our program, and I think that people do strive to get to director because of the CAR program. And the way it works is you have to qualify at this level for 3 months in a row. And I think there might be 1 month that you can not qualify, but it's 3 months, and then in the 4th month, you begin to qualify for the CAR payment. And what they're trying to do is they want you to be solid at this level, so that before you get the CAR program, and that's why they're making us do this for several months in succession, so that you don't get into a situation where you get a CAR and you're having this payment and you drop below this level. So it's a really great program. We have a lot of people driving cars out there and enjoying this. And I just think helping someone to achieve the CAR program, there's nothing much more fun than that. Right, Kedzi?
It's quite an amazing, it's a great feeling to know that you can go out and drive around in your advertisement at such a low level in the company.
And I think, as you can see, the $7,500 in volume, that's pretty low to generate a CAR program. In most companies, it takes more volume to do that than with GIA. So we'll go on now. Next is senior director. And you'll notice that, again, it's the manager level is kind of like the base right now. So for director and for senior director, it's creating managers or manager legs. And so to reach senior director, the volume is 20,000, so it's double what it was for director. You need 5 qualified manager legs, and of course a qualified manager means there's $1,000 in volume. They're on ARO, or they've made that $100 purchase, $150 purchase, and then you qualify as the senior director. And then the requalification, again, is lowered from 20,000 to 15,000, so it makes it a little easier to requalify. And I think the thing is that they just want us to stretch to get there so that we have the base there, and then make it easier on the subsequent months. The CAR program now goes from $300 to $400 a month as a senior director. And one thing I'm going to say about senior director while we're looking at it is that this is probably the last level that you can get to where you can really do it on your own. I mean, if you're a go-getter and you're out there sharing GIA, you can get to senior director and maybe even maintain it through your sponsoring. You're definitely going to need some help, but it's really in a place where you can do it. But anything after this, it's really about finding and creating leaders in your organization. Kedzi, does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. You will probably reach, if you just try to do it by yourself, you'll probably reach burnout, and you'll feel like you're a salesperson rather than building an organization and relationships and a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to mention one thing, this idea of rank consciousness that we may want to just mention a little bit is that, once you are achieving, like you had said, I put my sights on presidential or whichever rank you said, and, then everything else filled in to get there. And that's what we might call rank consciousness.
Right.
And so I think that's a really important part of the intention and the view from above, if you will, rather than sort of getting buried in, oh, what do I have to do? And it feels so hard. And, it kind of lifts you out of that. And then when you achieve it, you want to have that rank consciousness not to fall below or not just to hang out there, but just to keep on going, even though it might have been a tough climb.
Karen, you have a question? Okay. By the way, I can send these slides out to everybody, so you'll have them if you want. I'll just send the PowerPoint to everybody, or I'll send it to you, Kedzi. You can get it out to everybody too. All right, so that's Senior Director, and let's see, let's go to Executive Director. Now, Executive Director, really now you're building a team. You probably have at least a couple of leaders on your team, and you'll notice that the qualification here is $30,000 in volume, and so pretty significant, and it's going to take a team to do that. The other thing about this qualification is that you need 2 director legs. Now remember, director is where the CAR program starts, and it's where kind of that leadership starts to begin. So now you've sponsored at least 2 people who have shown up in your first 4 levels. So you don't necessarily have to sponsor these 2 people. It could come from someone else in your first 4 levels, but you found 2 people who are pretty serious about building. And then at the same time, you have 5 additional managers to reach this level. And the income is $3,000 to $5,000 a month. The requalification for this level is 2 directors and 4 manager legs. So you reach it with a total of 7, and then after that they kind of reduce the number of managers that you need to requalify at this level. The CAR program now goes up to $500 a month. And so now with this one, you're really starting to make some pretty good income. Some people can start to think about maybe a full-time career possibly, I think, when they get to this director level, or they can see that happening. And I've had 1 or 2 people get to director in the first month, and I've had people take a little bit longer to get there. But I think, as you said, Kedzi, it's about, and here's what we're talking about today, is really about the business of GIA. It's about creating an income and having this rank consciousness, and you can see how moving up in the ranks is what creates the volume that creates the income and helping people to reach these levels. Kedzi, anything on this one?
Yeah, I mean, just for everybody who loves our technology too, I mean, just think of all the people that are in that chart right there that are getting well and healthy and helping other people to do that. You can't ignore that as part of our ranks and a part of our business. Well,
it's the truth. There's no way that you move up in this plan unless you help a lot of people with our products, and I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, you could have a desire to make a great income, but if you're not passionate about helping people, it would be impossible. The way that GIA.
I remember speaking to someone, and I'm not going to mention the company or the product, but they just said to me when they were just getting going, and they knew me from another place, and they were prospecting me to come on board because they knew that I loved networking and had some success. And I said, well, but I don't feel that I would even use that product. They said, oh, don't worry about it. Just buy it and throw it away, give it away to somebody. We don't care. We're just all about money. I said, well, that is completely the antithesis of what we're really talking about here.
That's true. Very true. All right. Any questions before I move on to Presidential Director?
I have a question. This is Carol about the strategy in placement as you're looking at all the different levels. Is there a point where you move off of your front line when you are personally sponsoring them and give up the sponsorship to help, one of your team members? When is it beneficial to go to the second level? If you are finding the new enrollment?
Right. I think that's a good question. And in this program here, my philosophy is that as you're sponsoring people, especially in the beginning, you want to sponsor them. And you want to go as wide as you can. However, that doesn't mean if I'm working with you, Carol, let's say we're working together, and I find someone and there's some connection to you with that person, I definitely would to sponsor that person under you. Very seldom in the beginning stages would I go out and find someone and then sponsor them under someone else. that hasn't worked well for me particularly. So now, as you grow and you're starting to move up in the ranks and you're pretty solid, then there could be times when I'm working with one of my leaders or someone that's up and coming that we would work together that way. So I don't have a definitive answer for you that you probably would want. It's kind of a gray area. When you sponsor someone underneath someone else, you give up the bonus, the quick start bonus that comes with that. So that other person, whoever you're sponsoring it under, that person under gets the quick start bonus. And so that becomes a little bit of an issue, especially in the beginning, because the quick start bonus that people earn really is part of the income they're generating that helps them to be motivated. But I think as you grow and your team expands and you're leading the way, that will happen from time to time. It hasn't happened a lot for me, but I can't say that it's never happened.
Yeah, I guess that just using the words sponsor them underneath somebody else is a confusing term for me. What you're saying is that you're placing them underneath another person, and you would benefit from the level commission but get no other commissions or fast starts or anything from that placement.
Yeah, and maybe a better term is enrolling. So you're enrolling someone underneath someone, and the quick start bonus that we get for sponsoring or enrolling, that bonus goes to the sponsor. And so that person would get the $100, which is what it is. And then if they sponsor someone underneath them, again, they would actually get the next bonus, so it's a possible $200. And so at the level that I'm at, $100, it isn't like going to make a huge difference. So I could see myself maybe helping someone like that. But in the early stages, that can be the difference for someone, those bonuses. And just from a philosophical point of view, when you sponsor under people, sometimes you're down the road, it's a detriment to your business, because at some point it could block some of the volume that's being created. But that's another story for another time. But I know that you're probably thinking in a binary program, it's sponsoring people under people all the time. And that's a little different idea.
I think a word that we should throw in here would be relinquish. You are relinquishing your bonuses by having the person below you enroll that person.
Yeah, I mean, take Brandon, for example. Brandon's getting started, and he's new, and he's sponsoring people on his first level. Every time he sponsors a manager, he's going to get a $100 bonus in a check. And as soon as that manager sponsors someone underneath them at $250 or higher, that's another $100 bonus that Brandon's going to get. Had he sponsored that person or enrolled that person under someone else, he wouldn't be achieving that. And so it is a pretty big difference for someone who's starting out to have that idea that would be a good way to go.
And the other thing is keeping that person as close to you as possible. If they're essentially, connected to you initially, it really is important, I think, to keep everyone together as much as possible.
All right. Let's go to Presidential Director, and now really the group is growing, and this is at minimum what it might look like to reach the level, but you probably have 20 to 40 people maybe in your organization. You probably have a few leaders out there. You at least have 2 senior directors or 3 directors in your first 4 levels. So the group volume requirement is $40,000 in volume. The next is 2 senior directors, so that's 2 people who have reached senior director in your first 4 levels, or 3 director legs in those levels, and then having 6 managers. And that's how you reach the level. The requalification is a little bit easier. It's still 40,000 in volume, but it's 2 seniors and 3 directors, but only 3 extra managers. So they reduce the number of manager legs that you have to, manage to reach this level. And this is really, you've got a pretty good team growing. You've got some really serious people, and you're starting to build the residual income that we talk about. You probably have a lot of people on automatic reorder, and your team is really starting to take off. And I think The $700, let's see, $600 car program at this level. Any questions on this one?
No?
Okay. Let's go. 1-star presidential director.
The air is getting thin. The oxygen is getting thin at these levels right now for everybody, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've got them on here because it's a good goal.
No, I'm glad they are. I'm just trying to, make everyone smile and not get scared.
So 1-star presidential director, now you've got probably 4 or 5 leaders now that are growing in your organization. You probably have teams all over North America, maybe Australia into New Zealand, and income level. Yeah? And
Definitely.
the volume, it's a volume requirement now to maintain 1-star. So it's $150,000 in volume, and the income range is between $15,000 and $30,000 a month. And again, that depends on where, if you're new at this level, or if you've been around a while and have had a group growing. And there's one level above this one. It's called 2-star. Nobody's reached that level yet. I think the volume requirement for that is double this one. It's $350,000, and the income I think is up to $50,000. But it's a good goal for all of us to shoot for that one. So, any burning questions on what we've gone through so far about we can go back and look at something if you're curious.
I think because there's a lot of new people on the call, perhaps if you could talk about the Abundance Club.
Okay. We have that on here. But you want to go through these, right?
Yeah, we want to go through the 12 ways that we earn, for sure.
Okay.
Because
So,
just remembering those figures that you were stating was simply group volume. Then this is the way we really ramp it up to earn a lot more.
Yeah.
And these are the activities that help us do the whole thing in the first place.
Right. So we'll go through these. There's 12 ways, and if there's any questions along these, we'll answer them. So retail profits. Alfred, our CEO, who's a numbers guy, he says we earn up to 67% profit when we sell product at retail. I have no idea how he comes up with that number. I know that we earn 30%. The difference between wholesale and resale, I'm sure if I went in and tried to figure it out, it would be 67, but too complicated for me. But we do really well when people go on our site and they purchase a product. And what happens is the company, of course, sends it to them, and then they send us a check, and those checks are paid on a weekly basis. Next is we have contests.
Before you go on, remember that volume does not enter our group volume.
Okay.
Right? It does not contribute to our group volume.
Means that we don't get paid on the volume.
The rest of the group doesn't, but you do, personally.
Correct. So we have contests from time to time, and GIA will make up a contest, sometimes on a monthly basis, sometimes it's a cruise, and we'll talk more about that, but they can come up with all different kinds of ways to give us money. That's the bottom line.
Like our conference right now. We have ways to earn the money for our conference.
Yeah, they really want us all to do well financially, and I really appreciate them for that. Let's see. Okay, then we have the card program, which we talked about. It goes from $300 up to $800 at the very top, and talked about that. So we have the Abundance Club, and the Abundance Club is, I think it's a great way to get started for new people to really shoot for the Abundance Club, and the Abundance Club is really about contacting people. And so in a 2-week period, the goal is to contact at least 15 people and to introduce them to GIA, have them watch a video, go to a presentation, do some demonstrations, help them through the process. And then if you are able to have 3 people join you and then create $3,000 in volume, you win the Abundance Club Achievement Award. And I believe there's $150.
$150 plus $50 in brochures and sales aids.
Right, so it's about $200 that you achieve for the Abundance Club.
Plus, if you do it in your first 30 days,
give
yourself a raise of 2% on your overall volume.
Right.
Forever.
Okay. Team expansion bonuses, sponsor 3 people, new members in your first month, and then you'll receive a $100 bonus for every time that you sponsor 3 people within a 90-day period forever. And you can do more than 3, and you still get every time you do 3, it's $100. So it's a fun little bonus that shows up, and you don't even realize why it's coming, and that happens a lot of the time. Ted, do you want to explain the forever bonus?
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory here. If you enroll 3 business builders in 30 days, you enjoy another $100 bonus, and you can keep on doing it forever.
Okay.
And a business builder is a $2,000 package minimum.
Right. This is a really cool in the IHGO bonus. You get a special bonus every time someone on your front level to you purchases an eye water system. And I think this is really cool. For example, we talked about the core product, that core package that has an eye water system, Cleanse and Eye Thrive and a Cell Guard. So when someone purchases that, there's an eye water system in there, and so you do get a $50 bonus when someone comes in at that level. And that's really helpful. It's just another way for us to create income and have people earning checks. And the key thing about creating success is helping people to earn an income as soon as possible. And that's why we have so many ways that we can do that. Any questions on that? Okay. So the next one is the manager requalification bonus. And we talked about a manager is $1,000 in volume, and the requalification is $1,000 in volume, and then being on automatic reorder or having a $150 purchase on your number. And when you requalify, their company is going to send you a $50 bonus on top of the volume income that you get from creating that manager level. Just another reason to send a check. Kedzi?
So if you start seeing how everything links together, you do this, you get that. You do that, you get this. And it's all very linked. There's no accidents that these things actually flow from one to the next to the next.
Right.
And given, just for example, the manager requalification bonus basically covers your ARO. I mean, it simply put,
You're right.
it keeps you in the game.
Keeps you going and keeps people getting checks. That's the whole idea, is helping people in the beginning stages to be excited about sharing the GIA story with people. The next one is the enrollment and quick start bonus, and we talked a little bit about this. So when you sponsor someone, let's say you sponsor a manager, then you're going to receive a quick start bonus of $100. And then when that person sponsors someone below them at $250 or higher within their first month, you're going to receive another $100. So that's where the 20% comes from. And this has been a really powerful and beneficial bonus for people. To get a $200 bonus is pretty incredible for a company. You know, when you're brand new in a company, it means a lot. And that's really what I see when people are starting out. If someone comes in and is really good at sponsoring, they can build a pretty good income very quickly with all these bonuses on top of the monthly volume payments that come out. And I think this is probably what sustained me in the beginning. I was pretty good at sponsoring, and so with all the bonuses and the volume, I think my first check was in the $4,000 to $5,000 range because of all the bonuses. So for fast start, people want to get on a fast start, they can really do well financially with GIA. Kedzi, anything?
No, it's perfectly said. Thank you.
Okay. So number 10 is group volume commissions up to 10%. And now we're talking about the volume that you're creating. These are the commissions. And so on your first level, you can get up to 10% on your volume. And the way you get to 10%, normally if someone comes in as a manager or below, it's 8% on your first level. But if you come in as a business builder, it's 10% on your first level. Or if you do the Abundance Club in your first month, as Kedzi said earlier, you get bumped up to 10%. And that extra 2% can make a big difference in overall income over time. So it's a pretty good goal for someone that's new to, if they didn't come in at that level, to do the Abundance Club and get that bump up in that first month. Every once in a while, the company will come with a special promotion that'll give us an opportunity for those people who aren't at 10% to go ahead and do the Abundance Club or to do something that will help them to bump up to that 10% level on their first level. Any questions?
I don't know if on this list we have the 10, 10, 10, but before we end, we want to do that.
Sure. The next one is leadership bonuses, and the leadership bonuses begin at the director level. And at the director level, the leadership bonus begins at 3%, and then it goes up as you move up in the ranks up to as high as 17%. And this is really, leadership bonus is all about helping people to join the team and really encourages us all to start to move up in the program. I mean, getting a 3% bump on all of your volume just by getting to director is pretty significant. And then each level that you move up, you get one more percentage, and you go deeper in your organization. So this is a pretty important bonus for us. So that's why I think reaching director is such a key idea for people, so they can start to benefit with the leadership bonuses. And then finally, the special promotions, and these are special. Of course, we have the car program. We have cruises that come up. We have like the bonus that's coming up for our event in Phoenix or Scottsdale. There's bonuses there, and these just come up from time to time. We've been on lots of cruises, and it's just fun. It's just fun for people to go for and work towards. So that's the 12 ways that we get paid. And as I said earlier, these are the kinds of things that help people in the beginning stages for sure to get an income. The new people who join us to start making an income that could be just a couple $100s a month, or it could be thousands like it was for me, just depending on the effort that they put in those beginning stages. Then after the beginning stages, then it's the group volume as the group grows. And then as we move into the upper levels, then it becomes the growth of the team, but also the AROs that help to maintain the incomes. And if I had to say one thing, the most important thing I think for us to focus in on is helping people to use the ARO program, to get on that ARO program, so that we can build that freedom that everybody talks about in network marketing. So showing people the benefits of being a part of that ARO program. And the company has given us lots of benefits. And Kedzi, you want to talk about the 10-10-10 program? I know we're kind of wearing people out with the numbers, but go ahead.
Well, I don't remember what year, maybe 2 years ago, they instituted the 10-10-10. I can't remember, but it still feels so new because people forget about it. And they're losing, if they don't know about this, they're really losing a huge chunk of income. So I like to use round numbers. So for example, let's say you had on your front line, this is 10-10-10, has to do with your ARO, your automatic reorder, and it's on your front line. So anybody you personally have sponsored or enrolled, and they need to purchase $100 in their ARO. Am I correct on that?
Mm-hmm.
John? Yeah.
Right.
And so you're let's say you're a manager and you're purchasing or above, and you're purchasing your $100 ARO. You are part of the 10-10-10 program. And that means that you get an extra, so you're a manager and you're already at 30% discount in whatever you purchase. On your ARO, you actually receive 40% discount on your ARO purchase. You also receive 10% off shipping, and anyone who is on ARO in your front line at $100, you actually receive a 10% raise on what you would normally earn on their ARO. For example, a $100 ARO on your front line, you would normally earn $8 or $10, depending on what your percentage of income is. If you did the Abundance Club in your first 30 days, you're at 10%. Karen. So we're almost there. And so 8 or 10%. Now, if that person enrolled by you in your front line at $100 ARO purchases and is on 10-10-10, which is now automatic, we used to have to ask for it, you will earn $18 or $20 from that ARO commission. So let's say you had 10 people on your front line purchasing ARO at $100. Instead of earning $80 or $100, you'd earn $180 or $200. and then they receive the extra 10%, and they receive the extra 10% on their shipping. And then they, as they enroll, do the same duplicatable thing. So everybody's making twice as much on their AROs.
I think doing an ARO call probably would be a good idea at some point, Kedzi, just to go over that, record it, and show people. I've got a couple slides on that too that would help. I think one other thing about the ARO program, when you sponsor 3 people in a month, then you get a bonus of $100. I don't know if you covered that, but you get a bonus for the next month. So almost your ARO is free just by sponsoring 3 people who get on ARO. And we don't talk about that very much, but that's a pretty good bonus.
I know, that's another one. There should be 14 ways instead of 12. Yeah.
There you go. But I think with all these numbers, I think everybody's kind of like, ooh, my gosh, I'm glad we recorded this. Any questions or thoughts about what we've gone over? Anybody have any thoughts or anything about the comp plan?
No question is bad.
Does anybody want to get to 1-star presidential director out there? 2? Good. I think it's a good place to be. And I'll tell you what, I will help any way I can, Kedzi, to help anybody on your team to reach
Thank
whatever.
you so much. And I know you're telling the truth because you're so generous with all of your knowledge and time.
I appreciate that. And if there are any questions after this, just send me a note or get a hold of Kedzi and we can get together. I'm going to, once we're out, I'm going to go ahead and put this on my YouTube site and send it to you. Karen, do you have a question? Let me unmute you.
Oh,
About the new,
Okay.
start over.
okay. Just a quick question about the new promo. So I know it kind of has to do with the abundance call because it's something that we need to be offering people right away. So that is the choice of the 24 pouch Eye Thrive or the cleansed pouches plus a premixed eye glow skin optimizing mist. And that's with a $400 order?
Or more.
Okay, so $400 or more. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Okay. Bilby?
Yeah, I just want a clarification on the 10-10-10.
Okay.
So you don't have to call that in anymore to corporate? You just automatically put on there?
That's what they told me the other day. I was stuck in the old mode that I had to say, please put them on. And they said, oh no, it's automatic now. Originally, when they started it, the people, we got to choose one way or another, and then we got to choose, and now it's all automatic.
Okay. And then do you have to be 100 PV or more to get the 10-10-10? Or can it be the 35?
Nope, $100.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good question.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I want to congratulate all of you for the energy and excitement that you're creating. We're all watching, and I hope that you'll tune into our team call this coming week on Monday. We have a presentation tomorrow that's going to feature Linda Cormier, so hopefully you've got the connection on how to get on the Zoom call for that. And every Thursday, we're going to be doing that presentation, which is going to enable you all to invite people to watch the presentation with you or at home, and we're going to record it so that you can send it to them. So I know that last week we had hundreds of people that saw the presentation one way or another. And really, this is all about getting eyes on presentations. So we've got a lot of great things going on. Congratulations to all of you. And Kedzi, thanks for letting me do this.
Thank you, John, and everybody who came. And I know we're going to be sharing this via replay.
All right.
So thank you so much. Have a wonderful...
I have one last question about the every Thursday presentations is more like is an introduction to what GIA is, what they can provide. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're telling the whole story, the G, the I, and the A, and we're using our company video. And what we're doing is we're breaking it up into sections. So we'll show the first section up through the eye water, and then I stop the video, and then I'll go somewhere in North America, and you'll hear a story from someone live about how the product has impacted them or people that they know. And so every section we're showing, and then we're going live to a testimonial, all the way through, even through the A, the abundance part. And it's been pretty successful. We've had a lot of people, and the key is we're telling the whole story. That's what I love about it, is that people can get the whole story about what GIA is about.
And the Monday calls, what is are they usually focused on?
The Monday is a team call that we just started. In fact, we just did our first one Monday. It's a Zoom call similar to what we're doing now. So people are tuning on Zoom and they're calling in. And really, it's just kind of a share the good news kind of a call. Is what's happening out there, welcoming new people to the team. And like last week, it was great to see Karen. And I think when we were talking about the team growing, we were able actually to see the new people who are joining and recognizing them. And then we'll have maybe a tip, 1 or 2 tips. But here's how I look at the way I see this now is that our job is to invite people to Thursday or to see the presentation on a video and then help them join and then have them come to the Monday call and be recognized and introduced to the rest of the team. Kind of copying that throughout the coming weeks and months. Kedzi, does that make sense to you the way I'm saying that?
Absolutely, and I know that Karen and Carol experienced that a little bit, but you know, it's going to evolve as we go.
Yeah, and there will be different things. We'll talk about the promotions that are going on. I think next Monday I have Alfred joining us on the team call, so I'll have special guests that'll help us to, you know, catch the vision and kind of get an idea of where we're going.
That's going to be really fun. I mean, tomorrow is Linda, our co-CEO. Monday's Alfred. Can't get enough of them.
Yeah. All righty.
Awesome.
All right, you guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
everyone.
Hey, cool.
Bye.
Hey,
Kedzi.
all right.
Yes.